I'm here with Phil Diviny, who's just presented a really interesting paper on the whole issue of structuring for property transactions and developments. But one of the things he raised in his presentation was the High Court decision on Bosanac. And Bosanac is a case concerning, in a sense, asset protection. Phil, can you tell us a little bit about the case, the decision, and why it's important for asset protection?
Well, Bosanac is a High Court case that dealt with the concepts of resulting trust and the presumption of advancement. And it was a case where Mrs. Bosanac owned a house that had been funded out of loan accounts in the name of herself and her husband. Her husband owed a lot of money to the tax office, and the tax office went to court trying to get half the house in order to pay his tax debt. And ultimately the High Court said, well, the presumption of advancement and resulting trust don't really matter. It's what the intention of the parties was when the house was acquired. And the court found that Mrs. Bosanac owned 100% of the house because she negotiated the transaction herself, and it wasn't at the behest of Mr. Bosanac. It's an important decision because it shows that some of those really old fundamental concepts in the law maybe lose a bit of currency. The court said if the principles of resulting trust and presumption of advancement were going to be changed, it's up to the Parliament, not the courts. And on that occasion, the tax office lost out, Mrs. Bosanac was successful.
And from the point of view of asset protection, I suppose it means that you can put the property in the name of the non-at-risk spouse much more easily? Or is that drawing too long a bow?
Well, I think it comes down to the intention of the parties when they set it up. And so I guess what it does, Rob, is it opens up the possibility that you can have a jointly funded asset in one person's name, and the fact that it was jointly funded doesn't go to deny the registered proprietor their ownership.
Thank you, Phil. It'll be very interesting to follow what happens after that case.